Are you struggling to know exactly what to say in your free phone consultation? Are you finding that a lot of your phone consultations are not actually leading to clients booking sessions? Then today's episode is for you. I'll be sharing how I conduct my free phone consultations so I have more bookings, fewer no shows, and more of my ideal client on my caseload. Hey, Christian therapist, are you craving a counseling career that aligns with your faith and actually supports your well being? Welcome to the Prosperous Christian Therapist Podcast. I'm Kimberly Van Hooser, Christian therapist, private practice owner, and business coach for mental health professionals like you. In this podcast, you'll get practical strategies and faith led guidance to help you build a thriving private practice, one that serves your clients well and makes an impact for the kingdom of God. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your notebook and join me for today's episode. Welcome to the Prosperous Christian Therapist Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Van Hooser. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, the owner of a Christian private practice, and a business coach for mental health professionals, where I help therapists develop a private practice that aligns with their values and serves their ideal client. If you feel like your private practice could use some help right now, I do offer 60-minute coaching sessions. During this time, we'll take a look at your private practice, what your needs are, and really help you develop a clear plan to move forward. So, whether or not you have not even launched your private practice and you're unsure what you need to do to get started, or perhaps you've been in business for a while now and you just feel like your private practice needs to be revived, you need some clarity, you need to understand what you're already doing right, and if there's any areas where you could make some changes in order to have the private practice of your dreams. I would love to support you. Go ahead and shoot me an email. I'll leave my contact information in the show description below. Today, I'll be talking about how I conduct my free phone consultations with prospective clients. If you are on my email list, in this week's newsletter, I discuss the importance of having a call to action on every single page of your website. What I use for my call to action is an invitation to book a complimentary phone consultation with me. I actually require that all prospective clients have a phone consultation with me prior to allowing them to book a first session. And this is really going to help provide a space for connection for the client. It's a very low stakes investment for them. All they have to do is set aside 15 minutes of their time. It does not cost them anything financially. So you're probably going to see an increase in the number of people that will reach out to you when they know there's no pressure in it. And from that, if you give a chance for them to really connect with you, to kind of get a feel and a sense for how you would be in the room, they're going to be way more comfortable when they actually come in to meet with you for a first session. So you're going to see that your no shows are going to decrease dramatically if you have an initial phone consultation. This is also a chance for you as a therapist to weed out any clients or refer out any prospective clients that would not be a good fit for you. So, by speaking with them over the phone for a few minutes, if you come to learn that the issues that they're dealing with or what they're wanting help with really are not in your wheelhouse, then it's a great way to refer out where they haven't wasted any time or money in coming in to see you. And same for you, you haven't set aside a whole hour of your day in order to see a client who's going to then be on your caseload. Because if we do a first session with someone, we're establishing therapeutic responsibility. So I would really highly recommend to require some sort of consultation with clients prior to accepting them onto your schedule for a full session. So, as I mentioned for myself, I offer a 15-minute phone consultation. I don't do video calls and I don't offer in person consultations. For myself, I found it's much easier to stick to the 15-minute window when I've done phone consultations. I have tried doing video consultations in the past, and it just feels a little bit too difficult to fit everything into only 15 minutes. And when you have a person sitting in front of you, whether that be virtually or in the office, it was just much more difficult to wrap up and to avoid going into actual therapy work when really a phone consultation is just a meet and greet. You should not be delving into the therapy work in this brief phone consultation. Another great benefit of just offering a phone consultation instead of video is that I don't have any pressure to look professional and I have no pressure to be in a professional looking environment. I always conduct phone consultations in a place that is confidential and quiet, where no one's going to be overhearing us and there's not a lot of background noise, but my client won't be seeing the space that I'm in. So that has helped me just kind of decrease any stress that would be added to me if I knew that I had to show up on a video call. So make sure you take all of that into account when you are planning how you're going to conduct your consultations. When a prospective client is requesting to book a phone consultation, I do have a form they have to complete on my website that will ask them specific questions. And over the years, I have changed those questions in order to help weed out clients who might not be a good fit for me. For example, I have a statement that says I'm only legally able to provide therapy to clients who are located within the states of Arizona, Colorado, and California. And I ask them, which state are you located in? And this has helped because I've had people find me in the past who are located in states outside of my licensure. And then we'd have our consultation call, and sometimes several minutes in, I'd find out that I wasn't legally able to provide therapy for them. So, this question really helps weed out people that you're not able to serve. Also, I have a statement about how I'm a private pay practice that's not paneled with any insurance, and I ask if that is okay with them. Because I think that's usually the biggest one where people would call and we'd chat through everything. They'd really want to come see me for therapy, and then they'd find out that I don't actually accept their insurance. So we don't want to waste their time or get them all invested or connected to us and then find out that financially it doesn't work. So I think it's really helpful to state your fees on your website, for one, and then also to have something specific on your phone consultation request form that at least sets that expectation for what you're able to do financially. If you are unable to work weekends or evenings, that might be something that's a good question to put on your form, or at least asking when they're needing sessions, because that will just set you up for the phone consultation where you can kind of get through the logistical part before having them open up and pour out their hearts on a consult call and then find out that just logistically you're unable to see them. Okay, so moving on to what you should actually include in a phone consultation. You can kind of make it organic to what fits you. I would recommend, if you are new at this and haven't done it for a while, that you would actually write out a script. And maybe if you have done your consults for a while, but you feel like maybe you need to reshape it, take time to write out what you would actually say to a client and practice reading through it so it doesn't feel super scripted. You don't want to be reading word for word off the page when you're actually talking to a client, but I think it does really help to have a piece of paper in front of you with your main talking points. Because if you are feeling anxious or nervous at all, as soon as you get on the phone with the client, everything that you practice saying might just go out of your head. So I had found it super helpful when I first started to write out kind of the areas that I wanted to address. And then when I was speaking with the client, I would have something to fall back on that would help me. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. It's been years since I've had a script in front of me when I've been speaking with prospective clients. It just comes kind of naturally to me now. The first thing I do when a prospective client answers the phone is I just let them know who's calling and I double check with them that it's still a good time for us to speak for 15 minutes. Because sometimes they'll answer, and especially if they haven't saved the number in their phone, they're not sure who it is, and they might not be in a place where they're able to talk, even if that's the time they pick for their consultation. So once I've established that it is, in fact, a good time for them to speak with me, I'll just let them know kind of what to expect in the phone consultation. I'll let them know that this is a time for me to really understand why they are coming in for therapy, to answer any questions they might have about the therapy process, and to share how I do my work. And then at that point, we can decide if I'm a good fit for them. We can always find a time to schedule a full session. Next, I'll usually start off with some very basic questions. I like to confirm where they're located because, once more, if they're located outside of a state that I am licensed to offer therapy in, then we just want to stop that at the beginning before they get into too much of the therapy content. I also like to ask how they found my information because that's really helpful for me to start tracking where my referrals are coming from, just in terms of marketing purposes. And it also starts to give me some context of who my client might be. I also take time at the beginning of the phone consultation to address any questions that could be potential issues that they filled out on their phone consultation form. So if they put a question of, do you accept insurance? Or yes, private pay is okay, but how much is it? I'll usually address that up front to make sure it's not a logistical issue before we delve into the heart of the phone consultation. Next, I move into letting the prospective client share a little in their own words why they're needing help at this time. And this is the trickiest part in holding to the time boundary of the phone consultation. So, a lot of times I will state to the client, I'll set a parameter for the time. So, why don't you tell me in maybe 1 to 3 minutes why you're needing help at this time? And this is where it's helpful if they have shared in their contact request form a little bit about what they're needing help for, you can reflect that back to them. So you can say something like, I see on your form that you're looking for help with your marriage. Can you tell me in one or 2 minutes here what's going on? And that helps set the expectation for them that it's not a full on therapy session, that this is really just a meet and greet to give you an idea of what it is that they're going through. So you can also let them know if and how you can help them. This is the part that probably will require the most practice on your end if you have trouble kind of setting boundaries or interrupting clients, not wanting to feel like you're interrupting. But the more that you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. What we really want to avoid happening is having the prospective client share and open up way too much, where they use up the entire 15 minutes just sharing their story, and you find out that you haven't actually had time to share how you work or go over fees or scheduling or anything like that. Also, what we risk doing in this case, if we let them go on too long and we're recognizing that we're not a good fit for the client, then they've invested and shared their story with someone and you're actually not able to help them. So, really do your best to really focus on in those first 1 to 5 minutes, kind of establishing just the basic logistics of can I work with this person and what it is that they are seeking. Moving to that second 5 minute block of your phone consultation, this is when I like to first take time just to reflect what I heard them say, to validate their feelings, to take time to connect and affirm them for reaching out for help. If I know in that moment that they are not a great fit, that's when I tell them and I offer to help connect them with other referrals. But if it is a good fit, then I can move on to letting them know that I believe I can work with them and I'd like to share a little bit more about what I do. I also like to take a moment and just ask them if they have any specific questions for me that I can answer because I want to make sure I save time for what's most relevant to them. So I might say something like, I would love to work with you. And I want to share a little bit more about how I work, but is there anything I can address with you first so we make sure we have time during this phone call for that? Sometimes they'll have questions, a lot of times they won't. So then I just proceed, I share with them about what I do as a therapist and then the next logistical steps for getting set up for a session with me. It's also very important to make sure that you discuss your fee with the prospective client during your initial phone consultation. Fees need to be discussed prior to a client coming in for a first session. So, legally, that needs to be done, but it's best just to address it in a phone consultation because then everyone's on the same page. You don't have to email them or send them these forms that then they're surprised by how much you charge. And if they have any resistance or fears or questions, then you have them on the phone to already address that. So, a lot of times when I give them the space to ask any questions about my practice, that's when fees will come up. But if it doesn't, I always make sure after I'm wrapping up with questions or sharing about how I work, that then the next or the last 5 minutes of the phone call is spent addressing fees and then logistically, how do I set clients up in my client portal, what they can expect, and what my schedule and availability is like. It's normal for a therapist to feel a lot of discomfort or some discomfort in talking about fees over the phone with a client. So that's where I would recommend write out your script for how you're going to do it confidently and practice saying it so it doesn't sound like you're uncertain or scared or afraid that they don't want to pay your rate. I'll usually share that I'm a private pay practice. I let them know my fee, and then I say, is that something that works for you? And that gives me a chance to hear what their response is. A lot of them will say yes. And if there's any hesitancy or they say they need to think about, then I can address that. But if you are sounding kind of afraid of what you're asking for, they're going to pick up on that. And it's probably going to result in fewer clients that are possibly even able to pay your cash pay rate, but they're like, I'm not too sure about that. Maybe she'll offer less. So just practice, be aware of any discomfort that you have concerning your fee and practice what you're going to say and how you're going to handle it with clients before you jump on that phone call. Those final remaining minutes of the phone consultation is when you're sharing what they can expect to do next. I usually like to say, like, hey, like, are you ready to book an initial session? I can get you set up right now. This is my availability, and trying to get them to schedule something. If they need more time to think about it, totally fine with that. Let them know how they can get a hold of you. And then I do think it's always best if they sound like they're interested, maybe even if they're not, to send some sort of follow up email later on, because what we're finding these days that way more clients are comparison shopping than they used to. So it's not uncommon for them to have consultations with multiple therapists before they choose you. And so sometimes people are like, I don't even remember where you were. Can you remind me what practice you're with? it's hard for them to keep track. So if you send a follow-up email after speaking with them, that can be really helpful in them knowing who you are and remembering and having a source for, okay, yes, I talked to Kimberly yesterday. I can just dig up my email and I can have her contact information right in front of me. So we want to make it as easy as possible for our prospective clients to book with us, even if they choose not to do that on our initial phone call. I would highly recommend that if they do choose to book with you on that phone call, that you do reiterate what your cancellation policy is so they know that they can still cancel within that deadline. I'm not going to charge someone who's a brand new client if they schedule with me and then they end up canceling or no showing and they don't come back. I'll usually send them an email, hey, like generally I do have this cancellation policy, but I'm not going to charge you if you would like to schedule again. So that's kind of like their one-time pass there. But it helps if you verbalize it. They recognize, hey, this is something I'm actually committing to, and I need to make sure that I let the therapist know if I do change my mind. So in general, that's how I handle my 15-minute phone consultations. I hope that gives you some information that is useful, helps you think about how you want to conduct yours as well. If this episode has brought up any more questions that you have about what to put in an initial phone consultation or how you should conduct yours, please join my free Facebook community, Start and Grow a Private Practice as a Christian Therapist. Post your questions in the group and I'd be happy to answer those for you there. And if you would like some one-on-one private practice coaching or support, I'm happy to offer that to you as well. So go ahead and shoot me an email if you're interested in that. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to having you with me next time. If you found value in today's episode, would you leave a written review on Apple Podcasts? It helps other faith-led clinicians like you find the show. And don't forget to join my free Facebook community, Start and Grow Your Private Practice as a Christian Therapist, where you'll join other clinicians for encouragement, accountability, and free tips and support. See you there.